Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are making a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Yesterday we fixed a couple of bugs with our loading. We've got to restart Tmux real quick. Okay, let's see here. I hate when it does that. But we've got some singular chasms here. And then we got these kind of tall ones. We've got this chasm death animation going on. We can load from our previous save point, which right now is us meditating at an idol right outside. So these little idols you can talk to and either meditate or no, and if you meditate, that's essentially saving, and then you'll respawn at your previous meditation spot whenever you die. So I think what we're going to work on today is making some corner edge blend pieces for the edge of the chasm here. And then we're also going to potentially build out a couple levels of our dungeon. I think I mapped out a couple of the first rooms of the dungeon on GIMP somewhere, and then I probably didn't save it, so we'll have to think through, because the dungeon you don't have access to the green tunic of strength until you beat the dungeon, so we can't really have, well, actually about halfway through the dungeon you'll get the green tunic, so you'll be able to push crates out of the way or push boulders out of the way. So I think the move is we make like 2 or 3 rooms before you get a pushable item or the green tunic, and then as soon as you get the green tunic you can come back into the earlier rooms and unlock certain things that were locked because you couldn't push items around. So kind of just like tease you when you first come in, be like, hey, there's a treasure chest back there that you can't get to because there's a boulder. So you have to go deeper into the dungeon to unlock the tunic, and then you can come back out and get the piece of heart or whatever's in there. So let's make a couple more sprites for the edge pieces here, and then we'll try to maybe build out a level or so. Oh Lord. Okay, so yeah, the other thing is too, right now this dungeon's like at the very top, which means we don't have any room to walk because this is the very top of our sprite sheet. So we kind of have to plan out little sections for the dungeons to go, and then we can fill in any singular spots with rooms like the shopkeep. So I think we might want to move all of these tiles down over here, because the idea is there's going to be a couple of rooms. I don't think I saved my GIMP draw, because we kind of planned out a couple of rooms for us to build out here. Let's see if I saved it. Yeah, Squinch, you'll have to be sure to share the game when you're in a shareable state with it. Yeah, we did not save it. That's okay. The goal was, it was going to be like we walk in and there's going to be, we're essentially in the dungeon under here, right? So this snow stuff is just a placeholder. That won't be like that. But what will happen is there's going to be like a boulder blocking the entrance over here. So you can't get out through here until you come with the green tunic of strength on this side, and then you can push the boulder out of the way or something like that. So we'll have to plan out what exactly we want for that. And then the dungeons, I'm thinking only like 4 rooms of a dungeon for this first one. and the tunic of strength will be in like the second to last one. So maybe we have like a, you know, entrance up right, down right, and then down is the exit. So maybe these ones, it goes these 4 and this one. So let's draw out like a little dungeon map, and then we'll make like a little you know, we're inserting a warp zone here to get to the dungeon, and then if you walk out, collide with the warp zone that's right here, you'll come out in the overworld. But we'll have to add little doorways, and that's what's cool about this method is like we put if we put the doorways in there, our map knows that since the scene is right next to it in this global map atlas, it'll know how to switch to them, no problem. So it should be fairly easy to get a couple of levels here. So let's draw a couple of tiles here. We need this far. Okay. So this will be our dungeon 1. Very rough outline, but then we have edge pieces, right? And I already drew it on the wrong layer. We need this to be on the ground level. Sweet. So we're just going to paint out the edges. You know, I don't know what it's going to look like just yet, so we're kind of just going to do little kind of like placeholders, because, you know, the edge of the rooms will all hopefully have this general shape to it. Cool. Yeah, I should have drawn this once and then just copied the border, so maybe we'll do that. I'll draw it once and then we'll copy it as like a template. Because we don't know, you know, we don't know how many bat holes we're going to have. We don't know where the doors are. We don't know what chasms are going to go where. So for right now, we're just going to place the template and then add some simple door holes and then just kind of start the level design process. So we can test things and test different ideas in this little sandbox here. And then we'll see what the workflow is like for placing a warp zone, and then playing around with bat spawns and all that stuff. It should be fairly easy. Like, we've set ourselves up for success because we did all the hard stuff with the bats. Okay, so we can kind of just plop out these little dungeons here. That's cool. See, this, yeah, tiled is going to save us years of development because we can use this. This is super nice. Okay, so let's take a look at how we did the doorways for our first example here. So if we go in just our ground level tile, we can see that our ground level tile needs the little door entrance, and then in the above ground we put our chasms, which our chasms can actually go in the ground or above ground layer. Makes the most sense to be on the ground, right? Because the chasm is actually beneath the ground. But then we have a top level tile layer of stuff like the doorway here. So I know there's a way we are we're rendering this specific, these values of the bat cave, we're rendering those over the bats, or no, under the bats. Yeah, we're rendering the bat cave under the bats, but we can't really see. One thing we're missing on here is the shadow, the gradient overlay that we have in the top level tile layer, so that the bats are coming out of the shadow. So we add like a little gradient so they kind of creep out of the shadow there. Oops. And we want to be very careful about accidentally drawing layers and stuff. So let's see here. Let's give us, this will be our entrance like it currently is. So it's like that third one from the left. So we'll put that here. Why are there like two different... Okay. I don't know why there's like two different entrances here. But basically we have an entrance, and then if we wanted to make a couple of different entrances just to kind of piece these together, we only have the bottom ones right now. So we have to kind of make some other ones. This is going to be the exit. We don't have any side entrance holes, so we'll just have to rotate them and export them so that we can draw with them. And I don't know why we have two. See, these are the gradients I was talking about. Oh, one is a black background, one is a transparent. So the idea is we draw the ground level one first. No. Yeah, we draw the ground level one first, because we have to be on top of the black, but beneath our curve. So we have to draw the black one first, then the transparent one. So luckily these are the same. I'm pretty sure these are the same dimensions that we need for every other angle. So we should be able to just rotate them. And then we can just kind of, oops. Oh, come on. If we know that we are doing these, we know the right side is the, gosh, I don't know how we would remember this. Because we can't see which one's transparent, which one's not, when we're in tiled. So that kind of sucks. Uh-oh. Okay, so those are our other entrances. I guess we just have to know that it starts on the right and then it continues to rotate. So we have to draw the first one on the right. Gosh, I'm not going to remember that. Let's save this as a master sheet here. And then we'll be able to draw with it as soon as we reload our tiled. So I'm going to just reload our tiled. Okay. I wonder if we can we change the background color for this? Like I want a transparent background, like a checkerboard for the background here. Well, at least we can see it there, but I'd like to be able to see it right here. Okay, yuck. If we go to light mode, we can see it. Yeah, so see, the ones we added here were wrong. So this is a better way for us to see that we need these gradients in here. So we'll probably have to go light mode as bad as it sucks. Just because it allows us to see things clearer. So when we draw these holes, these entrances, we need to draw on our ground level the dark entrance. Oh, that's for a cabin. We need... Oh, we have... Okay, that's for a cabin. Okay, so we have a cabin and dungeon, so we have to do whichever one we got. Okay. And then we can do corresponding holes to kind of match the different entrances. And then, and you know, this isn't like, I'm not doing some like super intense thoughtful I'm not doing like very thoughtful at all design right now, because I'm just kind of testing what it takes to render a whole level, and what that looks like. So like what the workflow is kind of like for designing a level, and then make some adjustments, and then we'll be able to really run with it. We do want this one to match. As long as we have these matching doors, we can fit. So the matching doorways, these are non-collidable map objects, but all the walls and corners are collidable, so that's what allows us to treat it like it's a door, because once our player passes a boundary, we trigger a scene shift that allows us to load the other game. So this dungeon down here is kind of like a false dungeon, like you, there's no way out of it, so you have to come back up and come out this way. So at least for testing purposes, we can do this, and then we can make this entrance would have to have a warp zone that comes out over here on a corresponding hillside right over here, you know. So we'd have to kind of plan that out so that it's the same three dungeons over, so it makes sense spatially. And then the tunic will probably be in this room here. But treasure chests are not inserted by the tile sprites, they're inserted as an object in the game itself. Okay, cool. So let's see here. Let's just try to get our warp zone to come to this dungeon now that has all these connected rooms, instead of over here in this dead end zone. So we do need an above ground level layer. So see how the dungeon entrance has this transparent one on top of it? We need to add the same thing for ours. So let's just do it one at a time. We'll do all of the down entrances first. Oops. And we need to make sure we're on the above ground layer. Okay. Down entrances covered. Let's do our right side. Only 2 right sides. Up, and up. And then do we have any left? We have one there, one there. Okay. cool. I like that you can kind of see the doorways with matching doorways in there like that, so we know, you know, entrance, exit, and then all the doorways. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so we've got at least some bare bones doorways for us to walk to connected wise, and then let's just put a couple of pits just to test that they're working, and we do need them in the above ground layer because they're semi-transparent. So for right now we'll just put a couple in here, and then we'll eventually test with some bat entrances too. But I just want to see the workflow for how it works if we're going to design a 6th level dungeon like this. So let's export this as a global map. Okay, so now the tricky thing is we need to move our warp zone. So let's look at what because if you look at the scene number, we're at map 7-4, but then when we go to the underworld, we're way over at 112. So like they aren't directly adjacent. So we put a little warp zone in that hole there to warp us to the other scene. So we need to go to the 7-4 warp zone and take us not to 112, but to 3 scenes below it. So when we go, you know, is it in our map declarations? We have a warp zone. Warp zone. Look at this. We say imagine way to swap player frame to the default upon transition. I don't know what that even means. We're looking for a warp zone instantiation right here, and we're looking for it. So like this is great. We have a function that we made that we just give it the right coordinates, and then it'll add the warp zone there for us, and also place our player in the correct spot when we come out, because we're changing our player's location when we shift screens and stuff. So we have to make sure all of that gets shifted correctly. So right here, no, where is it? We have to look for an actual instantiation. Well, we do. Oh, the function is the. Okay, so anytime we insert warp zone, here we go. Okay, at least we left us little messages, right? So it's a little cryptic because it's 74124438. You know what would be cool is to like take those numbers and use it as the melody for what we're coding, because we can use. I guess it depends, because like if it's like too close together, they don't sound melodic together. So let me just. What we'll do is we'll copy the parameters here as a sort of. As a sort of cheat sheet for what the heck these numbers mean. So, you know, we have warp from row from call, and that's like a map row map call. And then warp to row to call. Okay, so the warp from is where the warp zone map scene is. The next two are the map scene that you're warping to. The next two are the X position of the character in tiles where we're inserting the warp zone. And then the last one are warp from X and then warp to. When we warp, when we go to a warp, we have to give the parameters here. So we can leave the dungeon insert warp zone as like a template here, and that's just the one that's already still in the game. It's just not the one we're trying to warp to. So instead of going from 7.4 to 112, we need to go to, this is 112, so we need to go to 112. We need to go to 1, 2, 3 11, 311, 411. So 411 is where we start in here. So instead of 112, we go to 411. And then these should be the same, right? So the 4-4 is the X and Y tile index of where the hole that we're about to insert that warp zone is, and then 3-8 is where we're inserting the warp zone. It's like just out of sight of the above ground tile layer, so when you walk and the cover is kind of over your head, the warp zone is like right under it where you can't see it, but your player interacts with it. And actually when there's bugs, you can see that the warp zone is actually like a bright neon green. So like if there's any bugs where we can expose a warp zone, I sometimes see them when I have like a little bug or something, and we have them bright green just so we can see when it's broken. But that should be all we need to do to have a warp zone take us to the new location. So it's, oh gosh, now it's bad because we didn't add the warp zone back. So we didn't add, where is the warp zone? See, the tavern. Okay, we do need to warp. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Yeah, now that we don't have, the warp zone works both ways, and we're in the wrong one, the wrong warp. So there's no warp zone there. So it makes perfect sense we came out there, because we need to go. Let's spawn here instead of in our old warps, our old dungeon. We'll come here and go to our 4th panel over, which should be the entrance to our dungeon with the new warp zones. So now that we're over here, let's see if we warp to the correct dungeon. See, there's that warp zone I was saying about, that bright green. When we collide with that, that's the warp zone. So I don't get why we're seeing it, because the sprite for the doorway should be covering that. But yeah, our above ground tile are not being drawn because we're walking on top. But see how easy the design process is kind of becoming, because our chasms are working. We can just draw a level and then come in here and test out how it works. Yeah, and then this is the one where we need to add a warp zone from the dungeon out to the exit, because right now we're just over in the overworld, or other world I call it, which is not the original 10x10 grid. So we need to get our above ground tile levels. See, and we are rendering them above ground, but they need to be top level is the issue. So any one of these need to actually be top level, right? Oops. Because if we look at, yep, all the ones on that one are top level, not above ground. So we need to make sure we do that. So let's convert. What's the easy way to do this? Can we do this, like copy or cut and then paste? Shit. Cut and paste. It didn't work. Okay. There's got to be a way to do this. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I think maybe I can do a... There's no select tool? What the heck? Okay, we can kind of shift select them here. So what I'm going to do is copy and then go to the top level and paste, and we'll just paste them right where they were. And then we can delete them from here. Okay, we'll have to remember that those go on top level, which I should have known. Okay, now those are in top level tile layer, so let's try it again. Okay, we walk into our dungeon. We're at our new dungeon. It is now at 411 instead of 112, so it's pretty easy to switch it. All we did was switch 2 numbers in our warp zone. Oh, look at this though. Yeah, this is not quite right. We need to cut off the top level tile. Man, how are we doing that before? See, that one's fine. Oh gosh. See, yeah, this one's fine. And this one looks fine. Maybe just the upwards one is wrong. It looks fine here, but when you come out, it renders over us, so we need to chop off the... Yeah, the downwards one is fine. The leftwards one is also broke. Yeah, we have never tested the leftwards one. The leftwards one probably needs 2 levels of top level tile so that we can walk inside it like this. Yeah. Yeah, so we need to like trim down. Wow, see, this is what we get for only testing the bottom entrance. Cuz we need to draw the side ones. The side ones need a whole other dirt above it so that we don't accidentally render above us like that. So it is quite tricky how to do this right. But we can kind of fake it, like we can just get a little tricky with it and have it look okay. So in our master sheet here, we need to change a couple of things about this. So the downwards one is fine. That one's fine. Was the upwards one okay? I think that one was fine too. I think we might need to shift. I think we need to take off a couple of pixels off the bottom of the upwards entrance, like right here. Yeah, we need to round it out at that second pixel that goes inwards. We need to cut it off there. So let's do that. So for this one, this second pixel needs to get cut off. So we'll make sure we cut off all of that. So the only top level part of it is just the very tippity top there. And then ultimately same thing with this, but I won't do that until we're happy with how this looks. So our sideways ones needs quite a bit of work. Let's look at how bad it is exactly. So on a sideways entrance, we have the bottom, even the bottom needs to get cut down. So the bottom needs to cut down on that first pixel, and the top needs to cut down. See, where do we even draw the line on that one? Because it needs to look like he goes inside. Yeah, okay, so the sideways one is where we need a whole other layer on top of him. We need one more tile of wall on top of him so he looks like he's going behind the wall, inside the wall. Okay, so both the left and right entrances, we need that a top entrance dungeon as well. So the when we go here, yeah, we just need a, man, it's getting messy, but let's just add it right here. It's like we already have the wall for it. So actually, yeah, we already have the wall for it. We just need to add it to when we draw. So I think everything there is actually fine. Let's save as a master sheet. And what we'll do, we'll just draw the corresponding wall in the top level tile right above it. So when we're looking at any side entrance here, man, I keep doing that. We need to go to the top level tile and we need to draw an above ground right there so that we can see right there, just like that. So we draw an above ground for any sideways entrance there. And that might do the trick. Okay, let's try that. Okay, let's see. So here's the up one. Okay, it doesn't look jacked up there. Now if we peek in, oh, see, look at, yeah, we need to cut it in just a bit more because that doesn't look so great. Yeah, we need to cut it in a bit more. 2 more pixels on the height there. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. And then here, shit. It's not that easy. Like it does look, it looks better when you're down here. But when you're up here, shoot, man. What's the answer for that? That looks so bad. No. If we render above, like maybe this one, for these side ones, we only have it to where, shit. I can't imagine what would look good for this. Because like that's what looks really bad. So ideally we don't have the top level tile covering his head there. But if we erase that, it looks even worse. Let's fix our top one, and then we'll try to shift a couple pixels off. Yeah, well that's we'll tweak it. We'll tweak it and see, because it's like, it's hard because there's no real answer for the render order, you know? So it's like, it's almost like we need like I don't know. Because at some point his head has to go underneath the cave there. So it's really weird. It's really weird. Maybe we'll, I don't know. Let's fix the top one. And that looks like, on this one, yeah, we need to clear, yeah, we definitely need to clear this more. Let's try that for the top hole. And what's cool is like our tile ID, we just changed the master sheet and our tile ID is already updated. Like it's going off the index that we are already drawing. So we should just be able to play it again and test it. Uh-oh. Gosh, it's already 11. Are you kidding? Okay, let's see the top. Yeah, that looks fine. Top looks fine. Sweet. Man, that looks so good. It's so crazy, like knowing the code that does this change and how it's all just an illusion, right? Like we only know of the current scene we're looking at. So it's really cool to see this trickery here. Wow, dude, that's nuts. 4 p.m. Man, you lucky. You about to end your workday. I'm about to. It sucks because like I'm always like not wanting to go to sleep because the sooner I go to sleep, the sooner I got to go to work. So I'm like, and then it's just a struggle. It's like, well, if I stay up late and don't go to sleep, then I'm even more miserable at work. Okay, so what do we get rid of here? Because it looks good here. It looks good here. Now, we do have, what's kind of unique about this entrance is that we have this leeway to move. And we have that leeway to move because we don't have strict top collision on our player. What if you tween the player to the bottom? That's actually, not a bad idea. Because, like if we insert or if we go right here, we can just tween him and then move him. That's not a bad idea. It's just hard to trigger. I want to automate the triggering of stuff like that so that I can just focus on the design and have it just automatically do it. That's a good idea. I'm gonna still think about maybe other solutions though, because I feel like in order to detect that we need to be tweened, it still looks wrong here, right? So we'd have to tween it before that, which means we'd have to trigger a right transition about at this X location, and that just looks a little too soon to me. I want the player to really have to walk in there to trigger it. So let's just try omitting the top half. I don't know what the move is. Let's draw it a little differently. So instead of doing, it's almost like I need to just have a separate one of a tester. And then we can try, because it's like my first thought was to kind of do like a shit, wrong one. Yeah, my first thought is to kind of round it out a little differently right here and be like, okay, well, only this much and further is officially on top of you. So it'll give us a little leeway for our head to go over, but then as soon as we walk a little deeper, we'll see how something like this works or looks. It is a tricky situation we got there. I'm hoping we can fix it with something like this, because then we can just keep our speed in development and iteration fast. So let's master sheet. Okay, we'll try to draw this so we don't have this one anymore in top level. Or this one, but we need our new one. So how do we refresh this? I might need to just save and reload. Okay, so here's our new test for the side entrance here. And let's see how it looks. Oh my goodness. Bro. Okay, let's Alt-Tab and try to do it. Okay. All right, let's see what this looks like. Top hole is looking good. Right hole. Man, that looks awful. I mean, it's better here because it doesn't look nasty, and then down here it doesn't look that bad. You know what? I think we can just cut it off at his... Yeah, I'm almost thinking if we just do like a sliver might do the trick. Because that looks bad, right? It looks like his head's coming half out the wall. So we kind of just need a sliver. Let's try just a sliver here. And see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, it looks better. It looks better than anything we've seen so far, but it doesn't look... yeah, it doesn't quite look like he's going inside like he does for all the other ones. I don't know, because like right there, it looks so good that he's in there, but it's that when he comes out, it looks awful. Versus here, he's like halfway in, but the going inwards is a lot smoother. Because it sucks. Like if we add in any more thickness on that top level layer, we have to keep it going up, and then it looks worse. Yeah, I think we need one. I think we do need the sliver. Yeah, we might just have to... And maybe we give like a... If we add any more pixels other than the sliver on the top half here, it'll look very weird. Man, it's... Yo, what up, Salto? How's it going? Thank you for the raid, homie. Here, let's do this. Yo, hey, thank you for the follow, Blue Blade. Thank you, thank you. Hope you guys had a wonderful sketch challenge today. I know I saw a couple of them. And I heard Rock and Roll McDonald's not enough times, but I did hear it. So like the issue we're working on here is like we're walking through this dungeon, right? So like we have this walking through here, which looks good on these up and down entrances, but like the render order layer is what's, yo, Mr. Bob, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. The render order is what's killing us here, because we the player need to be rendered on top of the wall up here, right? Because we need to be appearing in front of the wall. But when we walk inside it, it needs to appear like it's coming over us, because it needs to look like we're going inside, which it looks fine here. Yo, sounds good, Squinch. Yeah, drive safe. So what we do for this is like a two-part layer, right? So we have like a base layer of black, and then we have a transparent layer, and we're just rendering our player in the middle of those things. So when we're doing that, it looks like this, where we have the ground level. So like there's that black first layer, then we are going to render our player, and then we render our above layer, top level tile layer, and that renders above the player. So that's why it looks like we're going inside of it, because this part is going on top of us. But the issue is that works fine on these ones, but on the side doors, like look at the side door here. We do the same method, but for the side door, see how that looks okay? That looks like we're going inside the dungeon, but we have extra room up here, little extra leeway to come in here, and that's just how our collision system works. And that just ruins the illusion, right? Because the render order layer isn't doing us any favors there. And we tried to shift what pixels were being rendered on top of us so it looks better, but everything we tried was busted, except when we tried to a little sliver. You know, we have just a sliver of brown going over us here, and it looks like, see, like that doesn't look realistic, like we're going in the cave, but it looks a lot better than this, right? With the cave going over our head like that. So this is what we're trying to fix here. And it's hard because it's like any shape we give on the top level here to render on top of our player cuts off our head if we're scooted up like this, and then we have to cut off the rest of the head somewhere, and then it just looks faker and faker because it's just an illusion, right? So I'm trying to figure out what the right way of doing this is. I'm kind of thinking we try to just round out the top here, so that if we're here, we round out a brown tile level above, increase the collision area. We can, Mr. Bob. It's just that that's how our collision is working for everything else in our game, and it's necessary because we have this kind of like fake 3D. So like if this were true collision, our head couldn't overlap with the fence post here. But I liked giving us that little bit of room because it's kind of like a fake 3D look, where it's like, you know, if it were true collision detection, we'd only be able to get here and we couldn't walk any further. But in reality, our feet are way down here. So our feet should be able to get closer to the wall before we collide. So that's how the top collision works for our player on basically everything. So if we shift it once to fix the cave, then it ruins the collision for all of this other stuff. So that's why I'm kind of trying to think of a way to fix it in the cave settings, so that we don't have to tweak our player, because we've already tested a lot of our player stuff, so we don't want to just break that. So I'm trying to figure out a way to smooth that out. I do think maybe if we round this out, if we do the sliver idea, but then we round out a little higher up than this. So maybe we take 2 pixels off. Let's see what that looks like. If we kind of give us a little bit of leeway there, because... Oh, but see, we do need to cut this off, because when our player... Yeah, we need to cut this off, because our player's head cannot be rendered under that stuff. It just looks so bad. How far down can your feet go in the doorway if you move the actual cave entrance up? Yeah, we can't scoot it. Our game is rendered just like a Game Boy in terms of tiles. So we're basically locked into exactly 16 by 16 for the tiles that we're drawing. So we can't really scoot things up just a tiny bit. It kind of throws off a lot of things, including the collision detection for the collidable tiles. So it's kind of tricky. But here we'll try to save this as a master sheet, and we'll see how this looks. So saving it as the master sheet PNG alters the sprites that we chop up in our game. So since we save it, our game already chops it up and we can kind of test it right away. So let's see with the rounded top. Yeah, see, it cuts off our head here, which looks so weird. But you know what? Yeah, it kind of works. If we were to continue the roundedness of it, it would look... Actually, this might work. Because, yeah, it looks so wrong. If we don't give it that extra 2 pixels up there, it looks so wrong because it cuts off everything from our nose up. As soon as we go right here, and it looks so bad. You'd have to make 2 painted tiles to line it up. Yeah, you know that actually might work. It's just that, it doesn't... I'll have to think about that, because that might work. It's just that the way our collision detection is working is actually by tile ID. So whichever, we have this tile sheet here, and anything, see these red squares, anything in the row of these red squares are collidable objects. Well, Mr. Bob, that actually might work, because the thing is, it'd be really easy to just offset it, and then just when we go to draw it, we're already doing that in the sense of we're drawing 2 tiles right here for the doorway, so we're already kind of doing that. And the tough thing is, if we shift it up, then our feet will basically be under this, because it won't render a collision till it collides with this bottom one. Hey Mochu, what's up? How's it going? But I think I'm liking how this is turning out. I think if we continue the curve here, it will actually look okay. So let's try it. So if we use this as... Let's try this and see what that looks like, because I'm worried that this stuff cuts off the top of his head and looks super fake. That's what I'm really worried about here. When I do this, do I export it? Oh, it is a PNG, so we can just save it as master sheet and reload. This is the first dungeon we're trying to design, but... Oh, see, look. Okay. Actually, this doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks a little strange, but it does look like we're going inside the dungeon there. This might be the move. Because see how the cutoff there looks strange. Because our head here should be above. Our head should be above the pixels there. And anytime we draw anything on that layer, it doesn't go above. And then it's like we choose a breakpoint at some point in time to render above our player's head, and then that is just a pain point, an eyesore. So it's like this is why it looks so bad, is because this should never render on top of the player. This piece should never render. But we have to pick a point in time for this to render over the player. And that cutoff looks very harsh. Because no matter if we round this out, we can't even round this out anymore. We can try to just diagonally kind of keep it going and see if that looks better. It's a weird problem, and I didn't think about this because we only tested the vertical or the bottom and top doorways, and those were looking good. I did not think about the side doorways, so I wasn't expecting to get sidetracked here. Let's see how the vertical line looks. And you can't just cut it off entirely. It looks so bad because the thing is, we need to be rendered under the roof here, or whatever you want to call it, the ceiling, because it gives that illusion of us actually being inside a dungeon walking to another side. So we need some part of it to render on top of us in order to sell that illusion. Yeah, the vertical line's looking better, right? Like our hair here still, you know, when we come out of here, our hair probably should be visible, but it's actually, yeah, this is getting close. Maybe if we scoot down this vertical line a pixel or so, because I mean, maybe we can match it. Yeah, because the issue is if we draw the line here where the current roof is, it cuts off so much of our head here, and then we have this very harsh continuation of his head that just doesn't look real at all. So when we scoot it upwards, it doesn't. This doesn't look half bad. It looks wonky, but honestly, I can't think of another way to kind of do it. Because it's a fake, you know, we're kind of like... Gosh, it's such a weird problem to have. Okay. This is close. Okay, I think we need a dark brown, touching a little closer, and then we might call it good on that. And then I'll show you what it looks like if we try to do it normal. Like, let's say that we want to see what the... Yeah, this is looking better. I think this is probably what we're going to go with. Because any other change we'll have to change our player's code, and then it's just going to be a mess. So I'd rather it be in-game here in the drawing, so that we don't have to change how our player interacts with the world. Let's see. This probably is going to look okay. That's a great question. Like, I want to see, and that's something I look at. They have it exactly 16 by 16 pixels. The tiles are locked, right? So it's like they didn't have this leeway where we can walk up and down. So it's a lot easier when you force the player. It's like you can't walk in unless you're lined up exactly with this left and right. But like I explained before, we have to have this little leeway because it's a design choice we made for the rest of the game to have this kind of fake 3D so that we can walk in front of objects, and it just makes it look a little more natural. Because if we had the true collision like they do in Zelda, you would stop right here walking up to it, and you couldn't get any closer than that. Or on the side, you couldn't get any closer than that. Or yeah, like right here. You can kind of walk in front of this thing and have it look pretty good. Uh-oh, we drew something there on accident. So the reason ours is so difficult is because we took that creative decision of saying let's have a little bit more leeway on the collision so that it looks a little more 3D. So look, here's the old way. Here's the issue. If we just draw the overlay, this part looks great. We're stuck under, it looks like we're inside here trying to come out, but it's when we're up here and halfway out that looks so wrong. Yeah, Binding of Isaac 2, like I'd be curious to see if their doorways are hard-coded locked on the tile collision. Because we could, like how our collision's working is that every wall and corner piece are collidable tiles. So there's 2 tiles worth here. There's 1 tile right here, and then there's another tile right here. So this whole tile is considered collidable. So we can't walk through it. So that's why we can't walk through it here. But it's a little less sensitive on the X or on the Y, because we can walk a little bit closer up to it for all of those other reasons. So we could technically do like a different collision for different tiles. Like we could say, yeah, we could. What I like about the current method is that we just draw all of our collidable tiles in one area, and then we've got collision all across the board. But we could do like a wall or a collision, a dungeon wall collide table, where it's checking for collision against these dungeon walls, and we don't have the shifted Y on the side of our thing here. And you know what? It's still weird, because it's like, we can't make the player be exactly at the right Y position to get in, because then they're gonna get stuck if they're 1 pixel off, right? So like right here, we're technically 1 pixel colliding. You could see our feet as like 1 pixel with the bottom there. So like if we do the true collision there, we wouldn't, you'd get stuck. You get stuck on it, and then it doesn't make for a very fun experience, because you're like, oh crap, I'm not exactly lined up with it. I'm not exactly lined up, and then you have to get like exactly lined up to go in there. So at least with this method, we have like a little bit of room to kind of get in there. But yeah, this is why that overlay right there is why it doesn't work so good, because we need to be under a wall and above a wall at the same time, and we just don't have that capability. We have to choose a breakpoint where we become under it. So I'm thinking this is the best method, because it still looks like we're in it, right? Because we've got that roundingness of the wall there, but it still looks like we're over it. See, like it looks bad right there. If you go, anytime it cuts off right there is like, it looks so bad. But that's if you really try to go in at the weirdest angle. And even then, if you go fast, it looks okay. Man, I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough balance to find because we want it to be easy to use, but we also want it to look good. I know, Mr. Bob, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm like, I could fix it, but it would make everything so much harder. And the 2% better looking fix for the 2 hour or more code fix and the complication it would add to the collision detection, I don't think would be worth it. Because like, as much as I don't like that piece there, you know, if I weigh the trade-offs of like how much time it's going to take to redo collision on all these certain tile IDs, I just don't think it's going to be worth it. You know, I'm trying to ship this game in a year, and we're on our first dungeon design. You know, it's taken us a long ass time, so I'm kind of just trying to chug along. Like, I want it to be good enough and then just keep going. You know, I feel like if I try to get perfection, I'm gonna never finish the game. So we might just call it there. That doesn't look that bad. Rounding out that last pixel over there into a diagonal there looks pretty decent. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. Yeah, because it's still, you know, that does look like we're going inside the dungeon. So I think we're gonna call it there. Force players to start walking to the next room when you get close enough, and you can move the animation. Yes, I'm just worried about most of the scene transitions here. You can get about this far in before you initiate the transition. And it feels, I like that you have to walk that kind of deep in there to trigger it, because it feels like you really have to trigger it. It doesn't, like, you know, this doesn't trigger it just walking that close. You have to get like really into it. So I'm just worried if we do that. That is a good idea, because we would say, like, you know, if you walk in this far, we're gonna lock in a scene transition to the right and then tween your value downwards so that you're more under the dungeon, more like this side where it's fully over us, and then it'll transition for you. It's just that I kind of like where it leaves you right now, because it makes you kind of walk out, because it's like you're still in the dungeon, you're still in the entryway. So it's just like, I think it's more of a game feel thing. I do agree it would look better if we did that, but I'm really kind of feeling that, you know, it really feels like the player has to choose to move to the next screen, because you can kind of hide in here. And actually, this is maybe a design decision, because look at this. Yeah, you can kind of like hide from the bats in the doorway here. You know what? Let me see. Yeah, let me see if that's a real issue. Let me see if we I'm gonna see if we can reach our original dungeon real quick through game hacks and see if we can cheat the bats there. So if we walk out here, we'll be in the forbidden zone, and our dungeon is up here. Oh, see, we just screwed that up. Our dungeon is up here. Where is it? That's not it. There it is. Okay, so that's our old dungeon. See, I'm wanting to walk in from here. Okay, so look, there's bats over here. So I want to test if you can hide out in the hole here and kind of get... Oh, well, you get your ass knocked. Oh, okay. So yeah, you can't really cheese it, because they fly up to you anyway and spit at you. So they're their spitting is based on a distance from you, and they'll always go right towards you. So that's pretty. You can't really cheese that. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this. I think the side doors are just gonna have to be this diagonal overlay. I think it looks fine. Will them knocking you deeper into the entryway not trigger a room change? You know, the way it's programmed right now, in order to trigger a room change, your position has to be about to shift screens, and your player's input has to correspond with the direction you're about to change. And I did that because there were some bugs I was getting because it's like when we change scenes here, we're changing our player from the right side of the screen to the left side of the screen, and we kind of drag him over. And I was getting some weird issues with like my last inputs being held. That once it dumped us here, yeah, I guess I was just lazy, I guess is the real answer. Yeah, because ideally we probably should have them knock you out and then trigger that scene change. But right now, and maybe we can try to just see what happens if we take that off. So like we begin shifting here. Whenever we do this trigger, we have a event, on event right transition. So when we trigger the shifting, gosh, I don't even see where we do it. See, event on a left transition, that's what it is. So like, let's do left transition. Okay, on the event dispatch. Yeah, we do this right here. We say, if our player's not falling and we're not dead and our position is out of bounds, we would essentially trigger that dispatch. So what we can do is turn that off. Say no longer only do that if we have an output list, which an output list is just the list of how many inputs were held. So when I say output list instead of input list, because if you hold contradictory inputs, we don't want to be adding a right direction and a left direction. So the output list is like a parsed table of the different keys that you're holding. So if you're holding two contradictory inputs, there's nothing in your output list. So now we should have it where it would just spit you out. So if we were to go, we'd have to go the hacky way to get back to our old dungeon, or we can, when we go to do our warp zone, we can go to our old dungeon warp zone, which is right here. So we can say, let's go to our old dungeon instead of our new one, and we'll test the bats knocking us back. So now going in here takes us to the bat one. So look, we'll wait here. Oops. We'll wait here, and we'll have the bat spitball us and knock us back, and it should scene change us. Yeah. So we took the damage and we got knocked out. So that might be what we do. It's just that I know before we had that, we were getting some issues in the scene change. Okay, I'm not able to recreate any bug like that, but we'll see. That's a good call. So I think we will leave that off. If we get more errors, we can always turn it back on or find a better solution. Because you're right, it should knock you out. If the bats knock you out of bounds, we were way deep in there. It should have triggered a scene change back. Okay, So, and it technically wasn't even a scene change. It was a warp. It was a warp. Yeah, a warp zone. At least for that one. Because a scene change is going from an adjacent scene to adjacent scene, like a 7-4 to a 7-5. But a warp zone takes us to a different part of the map altogether, 7-4 to 4-11, and then back. So that was a warp zone. Okay, so this is the new dungeon. Okay, so let's try to get our left entrance working, and then we might add a couple of rooms for the bats, because this one is still jacked up. Way more worried if you got pushed too far, you'd get lost. Yeah, and break. Exactly. And we do have errors like that. Because of the way our collision detection is set up, if we're colliding with a tile, we'll essentially move our player's position to be just not colliding with that tile. But then if we're colliding with the tile again, because it's a whole wall of collidable tiles, we'll keep shifting our player until we're out of bounds over here. So now that we turn that off, if we have an error like that, it'll scene shift us to the scene that our player is actually at because of the incorrect collision. So at least the player can't get stuck off screen. It'll be stuck on the wrong screen, but it'll scene shift so that it won't be stuck off screen at least. And if we mess it up real bad, it'll probably get real ugly because we might teleport effectively. Like if we go from here to here, we'll scene detect. See, oh man. See, it walked us. That's weird. Because we're off screen. If we look at our value, we're like, yeah, there's a little bit of leeway we put in so that we don't move our player all the way off screen. Because I think it's a 180. 180 is the width of, gosh, I don't even know what the width of our resolution is. Yeah, but see, look, if we go here, it'll detect a collision, so it just moves our player all the way down to the end there. So we do get errors like that every once in a while, but it's mainly because our game isn't designed. All the maps aren't designed all nicely just yet. You know, we're still messing around and designing it. So I'm going to add the left wall here, just like we have the right wall. And then if this is the left wall, yeah, let's just flip this for the right wall, and because we also have the ground tile layer that we need to have black there so that we can be rendered on top of that. So I'm just gonna copy and paste this and rotate it. That was not what I wanted. Okay. Oh man, we screwed that up again. Okay. So we'll save that. We'll reload our tiled, and then we'll draw our new diagonal pieces here, and then let's not save it. Okay, so we need both here in the top level tile. We need to come and draw our new corner pieces, whatever we want to call them. We screwed this up. Yeah, this needs to be up at the top. Yeah, this needs to be up. It needs to be mirrored, not rotated. So we screwed that up. Yeah, that looks right. Sweet. Okay, so we need to find any other sideways entrances, which it looks like we just have the one other one here. And we'll place it in. Okay. I love that we're able to just save the file and our game already has it. It's so cool. Okay, let's test this sideways. That looks good. Yeah, and then coming out looks good too. Yeah, if you play nice with it, it really does look pretty good. And then if you walk in and then move up, it doesn't look bad, it just looks a little funky. It does look a little funky. Not gonna lie. But I really can't think of another fix for that. You know, we can use this for now, and if we come up with a better way, like I don't know what a better way would be, but we can always upgrade it. But for now, and for speed of use and iteration for developing levels, I think that will work just what we need. Okay, so we need, we'll need to add a warp zone here. Because right now we just come out into the overworld, which is just a placeholder. So we'll need to add a warp zone there to come out back to where we spawn, you know, like, because if we go in the dungeon here, then we're effectively underground in this chunk. Then we have, you know, this would be one overworld scene we need to change. That's just a placeholder. But we would add a warp zone to come out right here, so that we can use the green tunic we got in the dungeon and come out this way and push a boulder out of the way so that we can walk through, or push a boulder out of the way here so that we can unlock this shortcut now that we have that. And then we have to fix that we accidentally drew something right here. Oh my gosh. Man, I'm just always accidentally drawing stuff. What sucks is, like, we accidentally drew an invisible piece that we couldn't collide with, so it just became an invisible block right here. And we can't see it, but we knew we drew something there. So either in the above ground or the top level tile, we drew a collidable tile. So we just have to erase whatever we accidentally drew there. And then export as a global map. And then we should be able to walk through there. Okay, cool. Sweet. So it's fairly easy for us to have drawn this new dungeon. It's not designed yet. It's just a placeholder of like here's a couple of doorways. Here's where the treasure chest will be with the tunic of strength here, which is our green tunic right here. So once you get that, you can push items like crates and stuff, and that'll allow you to unlock the rest of the dungeon. So we need to or get out of the dungeon and be able to push blocks and stuff. So with the green tunic, we have the ability to push crates, which there's an example of that over here. And we can do, these are like the little crates that we can push. So before you get the tunic, and that's why this is going to be like the demo, because it's like you're gonna be surrounded by a couple of things that your character can push up against, but you can't move. And it's not until you get the green tunic that you realize you're like, oh man, our collision's all jacked up right there. Yeah, it's not until you get the green tunic you realize you can actually push these things, but you can also destroy them with your spells. We probably need to add a little sound break for the crate too. Little sound effect. And push a log into the bar. Why not? Now we do need to add our colored tunics to our meditation sprite, because right now it doesn't matter what tunic you have on, when you meditate you don't have that color on. So we'll have to add that. Oh my, what just happened there, dude? What happened there? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna, for tomorrow, we're gonna figure out a better layout for the actual dungeon. So we'll plan out little chasms and entrances for the bats. We need to add a little bit of logic to the bat spawn point to be, you know, spawn a bat. If there are no bats alive anymore, go ahead and send another one in and kind of have it on a loop there so that there'll always be a threat. But you know, there's not going to be more than 2 bats at any given time, and on the 2 bats are probably going to be closer to the end. So we're going to have to think of some light puzzle solving we can do for the dungeon here, where you have to navigate across a chasm as the bat's getting you, and you have to kind of like time your spell, you know, to hit him while you're trying to not fall in the chasm. And then as he's dead, you can run over here and like I don't know, we have to think of like a little puzzle, because you know, like Zelda's got like little dungeon keys that you can open doors with, so you can't just book it to the next screen and transition. So we might maybe what we do, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like another puzzle. Like I'm thinking that there could be another spell to kind of reveal hidden doorways. So it's like, but that's not very tough, right? It's like you walk in and you're like, all right, Revelio, and then go to where you see the thing. So that's not really a puzzle. But I'll have to think about what we can do, because the idea is that once you get the green tunic, you can push things into, like maybe you push a brick and it blocks the bats from flying out of their bat spawn point, and then that gives you time to actually do the intricacy of like navigating the little balancing act so you don't fall into the chasms here. We also have to do our outfit for both the chasm falling animation as well as the chasm falling state as well as the chasm fall itself, because right now we are rendering our original costume. And yeah, I think I might want to change our costume rendering into shaders, because then all we have to do is render our equipped outfit with the correct shader, and then we don't change the shader until we change our outfit, and then we don't have to worry about 4 different sprites or 4 different sprite atlases for any different state, either walking or falling or meditating, and 4 different colors because we have 4 different tunics. So if we do the shader route, we would just have one set. We'd have one set of this is equipped clothing, and then all we do is when we select our color for the clothing here, we would just change our shader color to render that outfit a different color. So I'm kind of leaning towards doing that so that we don't have to have 5 different atlases for for every different tunic color, but we would give up specific belt colors because the way the shader would work would have to shift all the colors, so we'd have to target, I don't know, it gets tough to kind of specifically target certain shades like that, but I'm sure we could figure it out. I think for the demo we probably won't get that far. We you know, that's not a high priority problem, especially since we've already got most of it working. So we'd have to add the green tunic for falling in chasms and meditating, and then if we do that, that'll set us up for the demo at least, and then we can worry about shaders later on. So I'm gonna call it a night here. We're just gonna git commit and add our code for the day, and we'll say that we added 6 scenes worth of Dungeon 1 here with new side entrance sprites. Sweet. And we'll get push, and we'll run the credits, and we'll find someone to raid here. But yeah, I try to stream nightly. I do a decent job of it, working on the game daily. So I'm here most nights. Depends on what time though, so who knows. But thanks for hanging. Thanks Saltamonga for the raid. I appreciate it. Hope you guys had a good time drawing over there. And Salto's doing the artwork for this game for the Steam release, so I'm excited to see what that's going to be finalized as. Here, we'll see who we can raid. Who are we following? Hypnotic. Oh, you know what? We'll raid Jed M because he has a great little game he's working on. And he's a really cool dude. So we'll raid out and then call it a night. Thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great night and get some good rest. Stay hydrated. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.
This is not being used. Yeah, so this isn't there. This is not being used.